there, my name's Deborah Garland and I'm part of a research project at Newcastle University learning about the lives of adults on the autism spectrum.
Hello, my name's Chris Mitchell. I'm a 36-year-old adult diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, and I'm also working on the project. And for the purposes of the project and to give you an idea of what it's all about, I'm going to now read from this information sheet we've prepared. Okay, this research study is called Learning About the Lives of Adults on the Autism Spectrum, and our aim is for our research to lead to new knowledge about people's lives and to change services and support for adults on the autism spectrum and their relatives. And we're inviting you to take part in a study that aims to learn much more about the lives of adults on the autism spectrum. We want to include adults aged 16 or over with a diagnosis of autism, atypical autism, autism spectrum disorder, stroke condition, pervasive developmental disorder, high functioning autism, or Asperger's syndrome, and also people who think that they may be on the autism spectrum but don't yet have a formal diagnosis. To incorporate all the terms that I've just read, the term autism spectrum will be used from now on within this information sheet. Research about autism often requires large numbers of participants, and that's why we want to recruit as many adults as possible on the autism spectrum who are interested to join our research. So if you like, we'll have a cohort of adults on the autism spectrum. For the purpose of this study, a cohort means a group of people with shared characteristics, in this case an autism spectrum diagnosis. If you are interested and you agree to take part, as well as contacting you now, we would also like to contact you at different times in the future to make sure that we have up-to-date information about you. We hope the project will continue for at least 10 years, but within this time though, you will be free to opt out at any time. And this study will increase our knowledge about what life is like for adults on the autism spectrum. And the results will be used to let people know how adults might want to be supported, and we hope this will lead to people making changes in services available for adults on the autism spectrum. So first of all, Deborah, what are the aims of this study?
Well, Chris, our aims are to collect information from adults on the autism spectrum, and this is actually going to help researchers, policymakers and those providing services for adults to better understand the skills and support needs of adults on the autism spectrum. We aim to ask for updates from time to time to understand in more detail how life experiences change for adults on the autism spectrum, and to consult with adults on the autism spectrum about their priority research questions to be addressed by research, and to help researchers recruit participants for projects that aims to answer important questions which may lead to significant advances in knowledge, opportunities and care.
Okay, so why have I been invited to take part?
So adults on the autism spectrum can have found out about this information in various different ways. You may have actually looked on our website, which is www.autismspectrum-uk.com, or alternatively, your health, education and social care professional and people from voluntary sector may have actually advised you of this particular research study.
Okay, so how might this cohort study help me and other adults on the autism spectrum?
So by taking part, you'll help us with research that might lead to improvements in services and support for people from the autism community. The research team, which includes adults on the autism spectrum, parents and carers, and professionals. When we designed this study, we spoke to adults on the autism spectrum and relatives to make sure that the information that we are collecting is there and needed to better understand people's lives.
So will I be asked to participate in other research projects as well?
So in the future, researchers might want to actually contact adults on the autism spectrum about other research. We have a research steering committee which includes adults on the autism spectrum, and will decide which projects to support to ensure that the studies are of high quality and useful. We will contact you with information about these studies, and we won't give other people your details. If you're interested in these studies, you can reply directly to the researchers. But please note, you can take part in the cohort part of the research without being contacted by us about any other projects in the future.
So if I'm interested to take part in this study, what happens next?
So there's two ways that you can actually join this research study. If you prefer to go through our website, once you've accessed the website, which is www.autismspectrum-uk.com, you can click on How to Join the Study, and you'll be asked to give a small amount of information about yourself and your diagnosis. You'll then be emailed your unique password, and once you've entered your email address and the password, you'll be able to read information about the study and give your consent and to fill in the online questionnaires. Now, we know that people take different amounts of time to actually complete forms, so we've designed the forms so that you can start them, and if you wish, you can save the information and come back at a later point to actually complete them. This information will help us to understand about the experiences of adults with autism, which includes things like sources of support, employment opportunities, types of accommodation, other aspects of everyday activities. If you'd prefer to send the consent form and questionnaires by post, once you've actually looked at the information, please complete the consent form and questionnaires. When you've filled them in, please send them back to us in the returned stamped addressed envelope. If you've got any questions or concerns about the research, we'd be happy to discuss the project with you, and you can contact us using the information that we're going to give you at the end of this talk.
Okay, so do I have to take part?
No, you don't have to take part. It's up to you to decide whether or not to join the study, and the services you may access now or in the future will not be affected in any way by your decision.
Okay, so what happens if I decide not to take part?
If you don't want to be contacted again by us, please let us know by contacting the address that we'll give you at the end of this talk. To find out whether adults who take part in this research study are representative of all adults on the autism spectrum across the UK, it helps us to have some information about those people who don't want to take part. So for those people who don't want to take part, we would really like to keep a little bit of information, anonymous information, which you, professional or someone who has discussed this research project with you could provide. The information will include your year of birth, gender, ethnicity, diagnosis and your postcode. The reason that we ask for your postcode is so that we can know what type of area in the UK that you live in. And once we've recorded this information, the last 3 digits of your postcode will be removed by us. So all the information provided is anonymous. And if you don't wish to be contacted by us, but are happy to provide us with information, please complete the reverse side of the contact form headed "I do not want to be contacted" and return it to us using the stamped addressed envelope. You don't have to do this, but it helps us a lot, so that would be great.
Okay, so if I agree to take part, what information will I be asked for?
So you'll be asked to complete some questionnaires which give us information about your autism spectrum diagnosis, health, living arrangements, the level of support that you need, access to support, employment, social relationships and lifestyle choices. We'd like you to complete as much of the questionnaire as you possibly can, but it's fine if you want to leave any of the questions blank. We'd also like your permission to get copies of medical and clinical reports about your diagnosis from the team who made your diagnosis of autism. If you don't want us to do this, you can still take part in the cohort project. To tell us this, leave box number 3 on the consent form blank. When we get reports, we will only record information that's relevant to this study and not about anything else. All the information we get will be kept securely in a locked cabinet, separately from the anonymised data. We will not give any identifying information on these reports to anyone.
Okay, so can I be sure that my information will be kept safe and confidential?
You can. We have a duty under the Data Protection Act of 1998 to keep your personal information safe, and the information will actually be kept separate from the anonymous research data. The research team will study your personal information on a secure database at Newcastle University, and the database will only be accessed by research staff working on the study and individuals from the relevant agencies or the Northumberland Tyne and Wear NHS Trust to check the quality of the research. No personal information will ever be released to researchers or anyone else. Any information that's published will also be anonymised.
So what happens if I'd like to withdraw from this study?
If you wanted to withdraw at any stage, we will remove all identifiable information. In that case, we'll retain information on your year of birth, gender, diagnosis and postcode.
So what will happen after I've returned the information then?
So we'll contact you from time to time to ask you to update information about your life, to see whether anything's changed, and to complete other questionnaires. We may contact you to ask if we can visit you for certain parts of the research. In this case, if you didn't want to have a visit, or you'd like somebody with you, you could say so. You'll be kept informed of the study's progress and interesting findings through our newsletters or on our website www.autismspectrum-uk.com.
So who is organising and funding the research study learning about the lives of adults on the autism spectrum?
So the study's been run by the research team at Newcastle University, and we're working with groups across the UK. The team includes experienced autism researchers and researchers who are experts in adulthood and ageing, as well as adults on the autism spectrum and their relatives. And for a full list, you can actually find that on our website. The study is funded by UK charity Autistica, and you can view their website on www.autistica.org.uk. Autistica aims to fund research that will lead to improved understanding and better outcomes for people with autism across the lifespan.
Okay, so and has this study been reviewed?
It has. The research has been looked at by an independent committee of people as part of the National Research Ethics Standards procedures, and the process has been designed to protect your interests and ensure that all research is of a high standard. The study has been reviewed and given favourable ethical opinion by Wales Research Ethics Committee.
Okay, thank you very much for that information, and thank you for taking the time to listen to this information sheet. And if you have any questions, you can get in touch with us. You can get in touch with the research team at the following address, which is Adult Autism Spectrum Cohort UK, Institute of Neuroscience, Henry Wellcome Building, Newcastle University, Framlington Place, Newcastle upon Tyne. The postcode is NE24HH, or you can email us at adultautismspectrum, that's all one word lowercase, at ncl.ac.uk, or you can telephone us on 0191 282 1380, and our website is www.autismspectrum-uk.com.
Thank you.